For my visual analysis, I chose to do the 2011 Benetton ad campaign. So the process of finding the visuals that I wanted to analyze, I just went to Google and I typed in controversial ad campaigns, and it took me a while to find the one I wanted just because I wanted it to be really impactful. And how did I decide on what I picked? I decided to choose this Benetton ad campaign because it was right away from the start, like when I first saw it, it seemed like it would be a really good controversial topic to describe and analyze. I would say the most comfortable part in doing this analysis was finding the three topics that I wanted to discuss for my strategies. My photo that I chose obviously had a lot to talk about. I talked about like the leadership roles and the controversies that it entailed. So it really wasn't that difficult to come up with three, let alone I could have done probably six more if I had the choice to. I would say the most challenging part of this analysis was making sure that the information that I had in my paragraphs and in my paper was relevant enough to the topic, and also making the information interesting enough so that the reader would want to continue to read and fully understand what this ad was about. And I overcame this challenge by having my roommate read it, and I also met with you about to make sure that my information was condensed enough so it wasn't like too wordy. But also, I read it out loud to myself to make sure that if any of the information sounded out of place or it was too much, I read over it a bunch, and that's probably how I solved the problem. I would say the main difference between the visual analysis and the textual analysis was you had a picture in front of you or a website, whatever people did, but for me it was a picture. And having this picture, you now have to look at the visuals. You don't have just context to go off of. So you really need to pick apart and find different ways to find the strategies within the campaign or the website, whatever you used. Well, I think the whole class chose to do PowerPoint, but I chose it because it's organized, so we go one from the other, and you can also make it your own, like so people can see what your ad campaign was. Because I had a few pictures in mine, so I really wanted to project that on the screen so people could see what I was talking about as I was describing my ad campaign. So a strength that I would say that I brought to my presentation was that I practiced it in front of my roommates. So I knew it was going to be said. I knew I was well prepared, but also I make sure I focused right beforehand so that I came off confident, because I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to presentations. You could totally bullcrap it, but I didn't. But anyways, my peer critique sheets reflected my strengths, yes, because they said that I maintained eye contact. They said I came off very confident. Were any of the strengths mentioned in your peer critique sheets that surprised you? I would say that it was very. Some people said I didn't make eye contact, and some said I did. And I think I looked at the left side of the room more than the right, so I think that's where it got all mixed up. But it's okay. For my next presentation, I think I'm gonna try and speak a little slower. Um, Also, I could have added a couple more information, but I just didn't want to go overboard. But a lot of people said that I could have gone a little longer, so I think that's what I'm going to do for my next presentation. And I think I remember reading that on my peer critique sheets that I needed to lengthen it just a bit more, so I'll work on that for next time. Overall, I really enjoyed writing the paper for this and analyzing my ad campaign. I found it really interesting to dive in deeper into the strategies behind what the ad campaign was all about.